Latest episode of the Bill Squire Show is there. The Poundcake podcast in all its glory. Amber Turd and Grinder Stalking is the latest Poundcake podcast. Not to put too fine a point on it. The Guardians win 1 of 3 over the weekend in Minneapolis against the Twins. They're off tonight to lick their wounds and then back here at home tomorrow. 6:10 is the start tomorrow and Wednesday against the Reds, the beleaguered Cincinnati Reds. They pitched a no-hitter against Pittsburgh and lost to the Pirates 1-0. So, Guardians, back here at home in the friendly confines. At the corner of, God, it'll come to me.
Come on, you know this.
At the corner of... Anyway, you guys know. So, tomorrow night, 6:10 here in WMMS. Keep in mind, all month you can use the promo code MAYDAY for 20% off at CLE Clothing Company. And they're always dropping new items. They got retro Buzzard merch. They got a sweet Goulardi shirt.
Oh, I saw
if you
that.
go back
That's a
that
cool
far
one.
with that, yeah.
I had that.
So anything they do, Mayday will get you 20% off. Mm-hmm. You got one? You got the Goulardi?
I didn't get the Goulardi one. I got it a couple weeks ago. I got this shirt that looks like the Star Wars poster, like the old one from the 70s. Uh-huh. It's actually the Cleveland skyline.
What?
It looks crazy like it.
Huh.
It's cool. And then I got a good Guardian shirt from there. Someone's like, that's the best Guardian shirt I've seen. I'm like, it's actually a Cleveland clothing shirt. Mm-hmm. It's not an official Guardian shirt, but, you know, it's close enough.
It's close enough, and it's a crowd pleaser.
It is.
Quite frankly. We have bureau chiefs all over North America. Well, we don't have anybody in Mexico. At least nobody who's hit me up. But the iHeartRadio app is available to you all throughout North America. We have Canadian bureau chiefs. Obviously, most of them are in these United States. Kyle listens in Naples, Florida. Andrew is a new listener in Orlando. Paul listens in Ogden, Utah. And we have a lot of listeners up in Buffalo, New York. And boy, did Buffalo have a weekend. A lot of cities around these United States had a hell of a weekend. A lot of people got killed in gun violence. There was a shooting along the canal in Indianapolis.
Sun's out.
Sun's out, guns out in the United States
Guns!
America. In Indianapolis, they've kind of got this promenade there where people can walk up and down and have fun and, you know, do what they want to do, be what they want to be, Addams Family style.
That's a good sequel. Addams Family Values.
That is a good sequel. And there was a shooting right downtown along the canal there in Indianapolis. Injured 4 women and a guy. Randomly. Of course, for you listeners in Indianapolis, of course, it bears mentioning that starting July 1st, anyone in Indiana will be able to carry a hidden, loaded handgun in public without a background check or any training whatsoever. There was a shooting at a flea market in Houston where I think at least one person died, a bunch of people got injured. That's an instance where FLEA became FLEE. Orange County, California. There was a shooting in a church. Orange County is a very affluent community. One person killed, multiple people injured before they got the shooter on the ground and hog-tied him.
Jesus took the wheel.
That's correct.
As soon as the weather gets nice, people don't know how to act.
Well, that's California, so the weather's always nice.
A lot of these places are places where the weather's been nice.
Yeah, Texas, California,
It gets
it's always
hotter.
nice.
It always gets hotter. I mean, it may be nice, but we're peaking.
Laguna Woods, California, Orange County, happened at church.
Well, if there was I don't know. I don't want to trust anybody going into a church anymore. So I just won't go.
Why is that? Oh, that's your excuse?
I just won't
That's what
go.
you tell yourself?
I can't trust nobody.
I can't trust anybody. You trust people at Chick-fil-A and Chipotle?
But it's not like you have an outdoor promenade, you have a flea market, you have a church, you have a grocery store.
I don't grocery shop. I don't go to church. I don't like going places. I just don't trust people. So you know what? I'm saying indoors. Like, I'm just going to stay indoors.
Yes, but other people want to go places, and there's no rhyme or reason. The one thing that connects all these different things, is guns. It's not the venue. It's not anything else. Guns, guns, guns.
Yeah, it's not like hatred is an American phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
Every country on earth has people who hate other people for no reason. What we have here is absurdly easy access to deadly weapons. That's not even controversial anymore. It's not even shocking. Now, Buffalo got the lion's share of the attention because a guy targeted a black neighborhood and a black grocery store. And this was an 18-year-old dude who had been writing a manifesto on critical race theory and all other kinds of fakakta nonsense that's been, going through the air.
Replacement gibberish.
Yes, replacement theory is now kind of been mainstreamed in the Republican Party. You'd be hard-pressed to find one Republican in office who wouldn't tell you that they believed in it. So this kid walks in. Oh, he's a kid, 18-year-old guy. Then they found a manifesto or whatever, right? There's more of a boy-festo, really. It's all immature and unevolved thinking going on here. But apparently he had been panhandling the day before, all in camo or something, and the store manager asked him to leave. She's like, you can't be out here. And I guess he had I was reading an anecdote that he ended up, the day before, he was clearly casing the joint or something, is that he had a conversation in front of the store with a guy named Grady Lewis, a 50-year-old black man who's a frequent shopper at this grocery store. It's in a predominantly black area. And he said that he had had a conversation with this guy for 90 minutes the day before the massacre. Imagine having a casual conversation with a stranger for an hour and a half.
I can't do it. My girlfriend, I have a girlfriend now, by the way. She was staying with my dog over while I was gone. And when I got back, she's like, oh, do you know so-and-so in the building? Do you know so-and-so in the building? And I'm like, I don't know any of these people that you're talking about. She knows more people in the building.
How did she know him?
Because she is more social than I am. So when people stop and say hi, she goes, and they go, oh, well, dog's cute. She go, hi, I'm so-and-so. What's your name? Whereas I go, thanks, and I keep on moving.
Yeah, that would be me too.
Yeah.
But this guy, the day before the shooting there, had a conversation with the shooter. I guess he started asking about his T-shirt, which said, genius, because of course. And he said that the two discussed a whole bunch of things, including critical race theory, and apparently this shooter he was telling him how he wanted to build a time machine, so whatever. He said that he had a conversation with him, and then he asked the older guy, who's a black guy, if he would be at the store the next day. Because he probably figured, well, I've had a conversation with you. If you're going to be here tomorrow, I'll find somewhere else. So he went in and killed a bunch of people in this grocery store, streamed it on Twitch. And remember in the 90s, early aughts, there was a whole slew of movies about criminals filming their crimes, right? But it was all that shaky hand cam stuff, right?
Yeah.
Now you just do it on your phone or whatever. But that's certainly not unprecedented. It's just a different level of technology and a different level of dissemination of the content. But basically, this kid pulled a Kyle Rittenhouse, right? He was nowhere near. He didn't live in this area. Remember, Kyle Rittenhouse drove an hour and a half?
He wanted to protect his town that
sure,
was an hour and a half
away.
Yeah.
That's right.
The shooter was not from this community. In fact, the shooter traveled hours from outside this community to perpetrate this crime on the people of Buffalo.
So he killed at least 8 people. I think the death toll might have risen to 10.
I thought it was up to 11.
Yeah, maybe. He's
a
from
retired police officer that was doing security.
Yeah.
Just moms and grandmas. Just
the shooter's
sad.
The shooter's from a town. He drove 200 miles. He lives in a town 200 miles southeast of Buffalo. I guess both of his parents are civil engineers for the state Department of Transportation. And he had been getting himself all worked up with stuff online. By the way, I don't know if anybody's trademarked white and treated right, but somebody should, because they walked this dude out. They could have shot him right in the head with all this. They didn't do that. There's all kinds of people who are getting shot. They don't look like this guy.
But even
They walk him right out in the cuffs.
Even there was an old white lady, 75-year-old dementia patient, got shot by a cop last week. I don't even think she was armed, or she had a knife or something. But it was a situation where they felt like she was a threat, but this kid gets to be handcuffed and put in the back of a car.
Well, you can go down the list.
Yeah,
I mean, Dylan Roof, famously, they took him to
yeah.
Burger King, and but Tamir Rice has got a toy, and they take him out immediately. So, yeah, this guy does this in Buffalo, and but apparently, he's got all kinds of journals and nonsense and whatever. And he doesn't have a history. I don't think he's got a history of violence. But he's got a history of like hospital stays for mental illness and things like that. And again, it's a negative connotation for the mental health community too, because most people who are mentally ill are not violent, at least not to other people, maybe to themselves. But so yeah, this replacement theory that's all online, and they talk about it on Fox News, and you'll find no shortage.
Yeah,
of
Laura Ingraham talks about it all the time.
Republican Congress people who will talk about it.
And
they'll downplay it, but you might recall a little "Jews will not replace us" chant that happened some years ago in Virginia. That's all part of this. So I don't, there's a lot of people calling for the heads of the talking heads over at Fox News. I don't like blaming people's actions on people on television, right? I wouldn't want somebody blaming something I said on something that someone else did. I think that's a very weird area to. Well, it's just a very weird area to be in. I'm not for that, but it's certainly you could certainly make the case that this is not some like they go, this guy's a lone wolf, he's fringe. This isn't even fringe anymore, by the way.
It's radical thinking
in that party.
It's radical thinking that's become incredibly acceptable within mainstream
It's
society.
become a regular talking point.
Yeah.
That somehow, for people not familiar with the Great Replacement, that somehow it's a big conspiracy to get immigrants and brown people here so that white people, I still don't understand, white people just stop having sex, or white babies aren't born anymore? It's not a zero-sum game, right? White people will still be having kids, but that they'll be outnumbered and replaced or whatever. And so this is the thought that, I guess, fuels some of these people, and this guy is the latest example of that. That he walked in and just started shooting up the place. Mike checks in with us from the west coast of Ohio from time to time. Hello, Mike.
Hey, Alan, hate the show.
How are you?
Well, it's just I'm feeling somber today with with all these shootings that happened over the weekend, and just this great replacement theory just playing out right in front of our eyes. It's crazy, and it's just sad.
Well, listen, I will say this: the thing in Buffalo and these other cities, that's what gets the attention, because there's this white nationalist vibe to it. The guy was very openly racist. This is not the media going, what does this mean? This guy was very, on record as being like, black people suck and it's time to kill some, right? But thousands of people are killed every single day in this country that do not get attention.
Absolutely. And I understand that. But, it's just sad to see, the white people being replaced right in front of our eyes. What happened to the good old days when a red-blooded white American can't be the center of attention in mass shootings?
Red-blooded, yeah, right.
Had to come in and sort of take over and try to be in the spotlight. Then you had the African-American kids in Chicago come out and try to take the spotlight away from the great American white man. And then you hear in Houston, it's a Hispanic, right? They're coming to take over the job of mass shootings.
Oh, you're saying that the mass shooters themselves
are getting replaced.
Replaced. Oh, I see.
Yes. The white mass shooter is being replaced by other people.
Right. Well, that is a different. I'll tell you what. That's a different take on that. I hadn't considered that sooner or later, given the law of averages, your point is that it's not even won't even be able to count on angry white dudes to be shooters anymore.
Well, Alan, I just would like to say I'm glad that all the thoughts and prayers are working and doing exactly what we intended them to do. I'll leave it with that. Have a good one.
Thank you. There's Mike, who checks in from time to time over there on the west coast of Ohio. I genuinely hadn't given that spin a thought, right? We're not even going to be able to count on shooters being white anymore. White and angry.
Nor have we for quite some time. I mean, violence happens by all sorts of people. And it doesn't even bring them together.
By the way, Ashley Judd confirmed that her mom,
I saw that.
Naomi Judd, used a firearm to end her life. Naomi Judd killed herself with a gun. She did, talk to Diane Sawyer, and Naomi Judd, they said initially had been battling mental illness for a long time and took her own life, committed suicide. And Ashley Judd revealed that Naomi Judd shot herself and that she was the one who found her. She killed herself a day before she was going to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Of course, she toured for a long time with her other daughter. So she had Winona, and then she had Ashley, who, of course, went into... I don't know if early in her years she was a singer too. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I can't recall a movie where Ashley Judd sang, but
I just know her from Double Jeopardy. That's the one that I can think of the most. When I think of Ashley Judd, I think of that movie.
Is that her and Morgan Freeman? Or was that Tommy Lee Jones?
I think it's Tommy Lee Jones. Is it Tommy Lee Jones?
Yeah, I think you're right. Tommy Lee Jones. High Crimes was the one with Morgan Freeman that I'm thinking of. Now, for me, she'll always be Val Kilmer's wife in Heat. They made her a blonde. They made her a blonde. She was Charlene Shahirless in Heat, the film.
Man, finding anybody that way is so sad. But when it's your mom, that's got to just be devastating. Couldn't even imagine.
So, yeah, there's that whole thing. But listen, even in death, she's creating songs. Mama used a firearm? That's a title of a song. You just got to fill in the gaps. You got to come up with a melody, and you got to come up with some other lyrics, and you got a song. Because I think that's what she said. Mama used a firearm.
You got yourself a stew going.
Something. But it's worth looking into.
And then had to obviously say the next piece. But that's how we are as a family. We love each other and we are with each other.
By the way, I forgot, and so a listener reminded me, remember months ago, or maybe it was a year ago, I've lost track of time, but like Ashley Judd got really hurt in like the African jungle or something, and these dudes had to carry her out. Remember that? She got really hurt.
I don't remember that. Doesn't mean we didn't talk about it. I just don't remember.
A dramatic rescue from the Congolese jungle.
Really?
This was February of last year, where she fell and broke her leg, and they couldn't like chopper her out or anything. She shattered her leg and there were these photos. They put her in like a hammock and like this wood, and these two dudes were walking her out of the jungle. She was there on a humanitarian effort, and she tripped over a fallen tree. She was trying to track monkeys or something.
The more we talk about stuff like that, the more Poundcake sounds like he's got the right idea. Just don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
Just stay home.
Stay inside, or at least pay attention to the signs. Did you see the video? And not everybody wants to watch it, I realize. You see the video of the guy who died cliff diving?
No.
Okay,
I don't
so
want to see it.
This Spanish guy, who I guess was a professional soccer player for a long time, Spanish guy, well-known. I don't think he actively plays, but this was in Spain. He was Dutch. His wife and his kids are on a boat on the water filming him cliff diving. And so what they end up filming is him hitting a rock.
On the way down?
Yeah, before he hits the water. So he's plummeting to his death, right? He collides with some rocks and his wife's screaming or whatever. People don't understand how... Listen, I would never jump off a cliff anyway like that, into the water. But
I've done stuff like that.
Oh, I would never, ever, ever do that. People don't realize how, like, cliff diving can... Anytime I see somebody doing that, I'm like, oh my God.
Lake Powell was...
Oh, no thank you.
We were jumping off probably like 30, 40 feet. Like real high up.
Oh,
I have no interest in doing that.
No.
This is something I did when I was younger, but like now the people that are adrenaline junkies, I'm so far past that. Like, I used to enjoy stuff like that, but now I'm like, nah, I'm a relaxation junkie.
Well, but also, like, or at least, at the very least, follow the signs.
Yeah.
You know, I was reading about a guy who died after he fell off an overlook at Hocking Hills. This guy's out there hiking, and they have signs that say, stay on the trails.
Yeah.
And they go, I want to get a better look. And the thing crumbles, falls over. There's not a whole lot of information on that. Between the cliff diving and the guy, now there's probably no signs in Spain that say don't dive off this cliff.
Or maybe
but
they're
if you're
in Spanish.
He's Dutch. Flinge here in the blurnde. But I mean, just follow you know what the lady said. She was, don't take risks on treacherous cliffs. Stay on the hiking trails.
Both today and yesterday.
Just listen to the, you know.
Good advice.
It is.
You're just too trusting of the elements and of Mother Nature.
It's not even that. I think people are just. The woman was filming her husband, so clearly it was for the gram or something.
Oh, this
the
is
guy, the guy hiking, he probably wanted a picture of where he was standing.
It must be bad because your mouth is wide open.
It's because it's not even like a sheer cliff. Like, there's an obvious
It's craggy
to it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not craggy.
It is.
It is. But it makes me think of the aggro crag from Guts on Nickelodeon. But it's crazy that he thought that would be a good place to jump into, considering you have to clear a pretty large gap to hit the water.
Yeah.
It's one thing to jump off a sheer cliff where you can go straight down. That's still dangerous. This dude had a chasm to get over
What do
to
you
get
think
down
his
there.
last thought was?
Oops.
Like, because like you don't have a lot of time down there.
No,
Well,
you're
you might think, hopefully, maybe I'll bounce off this and I'll be okay.
You have like
you know.
5 seconds where you're like,
Try to glance off of it.
this was a
I've got to take a break. I'll have another $1,000 for you at 4:30. About 20 minutes from now, next chance for you to go fund yourself after the break. If you want to go see Tenacious D, I'm going to hold back a pair of tickets for Mary. Tenacious D are doing Blossom in September, towards the end of the Blossom season. But if you want to see Jables and Cage, I'll get a couple of tickets for you after the break. 35192 if you want to text for anything, and we'll